Yes. Okay, so in this session, we'll be exploring data cleaning with Python and how to visualize. So first thing first, let's try to import all our libraries so that we don't run into error. So I'm going to import pandas as PD. Pandas has been the library that we've been using to manipulate data. Pandas as PD. Um, for the visualization, we'll be using the library, the matplot, um, import matplotlib. Pyt as plt. That's all. So we're using this library to visualize our data and pandas for data manipulation. So a new line of code, I'm going to the next one. So I have my pd.readcsv, a method, a function that allows me to read in my file from the location on the system. I had explained earlier that df is a variable name. You can actually call it anything you want it to be. All I'm doing here is assigning the data inside of this file, and I'm using the pandas and the pandas method to read it in and assigning it to this variable. So anytime I call this variable, I am referring to the content of this data frame here. So I'm using the PD here to convert it to a data frame. So I mentioned that the data frame is just like your spreadsheet made up of rows and columns. So having done that, now that I have my data here, the next thing is just to inspect it. So I want to check df.head to check the first 5 rows to see what my data looks like. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, DF is not defined. That's because I did not run the first cell. Okay, PD is not defined. Oh, I didn't even run anything from the beginning. Oh, okay, let's run the first cell and this should fix it. Yes, I'm fine. So remember, if you don't have pandas installed or matplotlib, you will run into an error. So you have to use the pip install pandas and do the same for matplotlib also. So I'm running this cell. Yes, I'm fine. I'm running this cell. So now I have the first 5 rows. Yes, 0 to index 0 to 4. So these are the columns in my data set. I have about 25 of them. And remember, another way to inspect my data is to use the .info, df.info method. So it can give me like a quick overview of what my data looks like. So now for me, I can see I have about 2,800 and 23 entries, 0 to 2,822. That's the index. That's why it's 0 to the 2822. So that's basically 2823 minus 1 because I'm starting from 0. So, and I can, looking through it, I can see that, oh, address line 2 has just 302 not null values. So it means that the others are missing. Look at state also. Look at um, postal code also. So not every column here has the value. Yes. Okay. Having done that, now I know that, oh, I've been able to check, I've been able to identify the columns that are in my data set. Another way to now inspect for missing values is, so let me just comment out. Remember we said commenting is to ensure that your code is readable. Okay, checking for missing. Let's check for missing values. So pandas as a method is null that helps you check for missing value. So I can do is null dot sum. So let me use this suggestion that it's here. So let's run that. Wow. So it's been able to sum up. So what it's doing now is that the is null method is more like a it returns boolean in the sense that it returns true or false. So it's going to check through this data frame and it looks at each column. It sums up all the values that are true. That means that they are null. So if it is null, it's going to assign true. And Python treats true as 1, false as 0. So what it's doing is that this dot sum here is summing up, looking through each column. Try to picture this like the way we do in Excel. So you have a column name, order number. Your dot is null is looking through each cell in that column and looking for anyone that is null, that there is no value inside of it. If there is anyone, it assigns 1 to it. It's assigned true. So that true is treated as 1. So it's going to look through. If you have 5 missing cells that has missing numbers or missing values in it, it's going to assign it 1 then sum it up. So we summed it up and then that's 5. You have 5 here. But looking at it, if it's odd zeros, it means that in other number column there are no missing values. It goes down, to address line, and then here it has been able to sum 2,521 cells with missing value inside of this column. So this is what this means. So it gives you a quick overview to look at. So now I know I have some missing values here. So another thing I want to do is that you can even use percentage also to check the percentage missing value. But with this method, we can tell that yes, something is missing in those columns. We can also check data type. So let's go back to data type for each of the column. Let's go back to dotted. Let's run through that and see. So we have order number, we have order date. Am I sure that this date is actually a date column? You want to check that, because if it's not, if Pandas is not saying that's date, it means you can do some deep analysis, such as you can do some calculation on it. You can check, the max here, you want to check a particular month, you want to check transaction on a particular date, referencing this column because it's not seen as date. So we also check that. Those are our key columns. Okay, order number. Okay, let's check for dates. Let's go down and check for dates. So I'll clear this cell output and come down here. So check data type. Okay, let's check everything at once again. Tab. We're checking for order date object. So when Python returns a column data type as objects, it's basically telling you that it's probably seeing it as a text, a string of characters. So usually when it's seeing anything like something like in quotes, text is inside of it or something, is just telling you that this is not date. So if it's actually date, it's supposed to give it as date data type, just like saves here is float. So we know that is float, we have values like maybe like 3 point something or so. Other line number is an integer. So we know that we are expecting an integer. So the fact that it is not showing as date here means that this column order date is not a date. So now that I've been able to check that, so we were able to do that using the d type property that helps us check the data type. So next thing is that I want to convert, because I'll be working with order date subsequently. So say I want to check sales per year, sales per month, more like a summary of my sales data set. And if the order date column is not in date format, it will throw error. It won't work because it's not saying it can't. I can't perform those calculation, those dates or year calculation on it. So let me quickly convert that. So let me just comment out this so that when I come back to this, I can easily remember what I'm trying to do. So it's suggesting for us. So one thing is that the VS Code IntelliSense is already suggesting, but you have to be careful because my other date has no space. The column name in my own data set, there are no space. If I use this, it's going to throw an error. We can check that. So I'm going to press the tab key and this is going to throw an error. Okay, yes, key error because there is no key defined as other date. You see? So these are the reasons we run into error sometimes. So what I'm going to do is that in as much that the suggestions are good, you have to be careful. So my other date is actually defined as other date. Other sorry date. So I'm going to run this. So let's go back and check data types. df.d data types. Let's go back. You can see our other data has been updated to date time. So I'm good. I can do other calculation with that column. So another thing that you can do with pandas is that you can use it to, we've been able to detect missing values. We use the dot to first check through the structure of our data set. We use the dot info, and then to check for missing values, we use the is null method. So now let's say now that I'm been able to identify that, oh, I have missing values, but looking at the missing values I have here, I'm not sure I want to replace them with some values. But then in an instance where let's say some of the sales values are missing, let's look back at our sales column if there are any missing value in it. No, the dot info method. So let me clear this and run that again. Oh, sorry. My sales not null. So in a situation whereby I have some null here, I might want to input some values that replace the missing number with say the average sales, or if it's let's say the address line. We'll do that for address. Okay, address line is missing. So instead of having some values that are null in my address line 2 column, say I want to replace it with something like unknown. Just want to put something in it so that when I come back here, I know that I don't have any null values at all. So let's just do that. So it depends on you, the strategy you want to use to replace missing values. It depends on you. Sometimes you might decide to use the mean in that column. You might want to use the mode. You might want to use, depends on your own strategy. So let's do something for that address line. Let me go back and pick the correct column name again so that we don't run into key error. So let's just, this is just for the sake of demonstration. I don't really need address line. The most important key columns I need are complete, and I'm fine with it. Okay, so I'm going to say df the column name. So I'm saying that for this particular column inside of this data frame, so be careful with the IntelliSense with the suggestions sometimes. So I'm just going to do calling the data frame that contains. So that's where I want you to read it so you can understand. Control paste this. So what I'm doing is I'm just assigning it back to this data frame. We'll also talk about in place a way of ensuring that if you do a change to your maybe like the series. I mentioned that a series is basically you calling a single column. if you want it to affect the original or the primary data frame, or you want to create a new one. Let me just do this dot fill now. So dot fill na allows you to insert values into the column with missing items. Sorry. Okay, so let's go back and do our dev.info and see if there are any change. Sorry. df.info. Can you see that now that I've updated it? Address line 2 is now 2823 not null. So I check data types. Okay, so I was talking about in place. So when we say df.duplicated.sum, this is a method that allows, if you over on it, let's over on it. So this is a method. Usually methods or functions in Python are defined with the keyword def. So there's a method in pandas that allows you check through based on what you are doing. If you are working with the role, checks through if the preceding role has the same content with the other one. What dot sum is doing is that it it assigns a true or false value to it. So if the line preceding that column, sorry, that row rather, is existing already and it's now happening on the second row, so that other one will be assigned 1. So what dot sum is doing is that after creating a series, a Boolean series, look at the definition, returns a Boolean series. Remember I said a series is just like a column. So what this is doing is that it checks through. Okay, now let's run this. Let's use this example again. Print data frame student. So what it's doing is that the df dot duplicated, it comes here to index 0, this row 0. It looks through it. Oh, John, not New York. It goes to the second line. If I have the same thing here, which we can introduce, let me quickly introduce that to explain what df duplicated does. Let's say we have a column Nick, who is their nickname. Oh, this will create John not. This is going to create a new column. So let's assume that inside this not column, instead of having inside region column, instead of having region, we have the same value inside of it. So let me quickly run this. Let's see for that John. Okay, and here again. John, then city John, the second role John, I'm just trying to manually introduce duplicates. Yes. So what does duplicated does is that it goes through this data frame. This is a data frame. Name its own. I'll refer to name column as a series. So when I say series, just think of it as a column so we don't get confused. So it goes through the index row 0 and sees John, John, John. It goes to the second row and sees John, John, John. It's going to assign this a boolean true, and true is treated in Python as 1, false as 0. So it goes to the other lines and does the same. Anyway, it sees that the preceding line is the same with the current line, it's going to assign it 1. Then what dot sum, this dot sum here, what it does is that it will now sum up all the ones. So if I have 1 here, I have 1 here again, it's going to sum it up. So if it's showing me 2, it means that I have 2 duplicates. So that's the idea, that's how it works. So but for my data set, then I'm now doing, then df allows you, sorry, pandas allows you to also use a method drop duplicate. So what it does is that it removes the duplicated row. And when you say in place equals true, you are trying to just read it literally, like keep it in place, just keep my data frame the way it is. Okay, I'm looking for an instance to show you. There are times that if you more like I'm doing an update on this data frame, this my data frame that I brought in here, and I'm saying that whatever update I'm doing to it at the point of removing duplicates, I want it to be in this my same data frame. Although it's not a good way to, it's best that sometimes it's best you create another one so that you don't alter your original data set. So when you say your in place equals true, that yes, you are telling Python that you want to keep it in place. Print df.head. I'll also print .info. df.info. Your opening and closing parentheses. So what we can see is that my own data set does not have duplicates, because at the start I had 2,823 entries, and even after removing duplicate I still have the same. So that tells me that I don't have duplicates in my data set. In fact, this data set is too clean for this analysis and is the simplest one I could actually get. Although we're able to do some transformation, like we manually, okay, no, we did not manually, we're able to replace all missing address line 2 with unknown. You can see unknown here. We're also able to convert other dates to date. It was initially of type text. When we ran df.info, it returned it as an object. So most time when you see a data type returning as an object, it's basically telling you that it's seeing it as a string or a text. It's not seeing it as a date. So now I've converted, what's it called, to date, our date to date data type. You can do one or two things on it. Say another thing is that you can create a new column into your data frame. Remember, your data frame is just like an Excel table, like your Excel table, just made up of rows and columns. So it means I'm trying to create a new column. So let's say I want to create a new column. Yeah, so this is how you create a new column. We call the data frame name, which I've given it df, the variable name. Yeah, and then I'm going to put the new name here. This is the new name of a column. Then you can now equate it to, let's say now I'm trying to derive year from the existing data frame that contains other dates. All I'm trying to do here is to extract year from other dates column. And when you say df other dates, that's a series. A series is also a column. So I've been repeating this so that we get it. So when I say a series, so I'm saying other dates column, like this series here. So there's another property in Python, in pandas, that allows you to select the year part of this dates column, which is the date.year. In fact, as I was typing it, you can see that IntelliSense is already auto suggesting it. It's a property. Another thing is that when you are writing this, you can hover on it to get more information. Remember when I did for duplicate and null, I could see that, oh, this is a method, this is a function, this is a property. So just see it as something that you can call, that you can reference, and it performs like something. It has an action that it will do, but it is not a method. In Python, it's known as property. So when you do dt.date, there's also dt.month. You can do for if you want to extract the week of the month from your date column. If you even want to extract the day, you can also do that. So let's see for months. So you can see suggesting for months already. It's already suggesting for date. So anything you want, you can easily extract it. So what we are doing here is, as you are calling on df, the variable name, and then creating, this was not existing before. If you check here, there's nothing like year inside this original data. If you check your df.ed, there's nothing like that in it. So um means I have created a column called df.ed, and I've created another one for dates. And how can you check that? You can go back and do your df.ed, or for a summary statistics, you can do your df.info to check if these new columns have been created. So let's check df.ed. Okay, that's not the best way to see it. It's best to just use info. Can you see? Originally we had 25 columns. So we have 26, 27 now. Can you hear me? Or our meeting has ended?
No,
Okay.
we are still here.
Okay. So those columns have been created. So what I'm just trying to say is that to create a new column, let's say you want to create a new column inside your data frame. It's not it's just very, very easy to do. Just call the variable name, the variable that contains your data set, which is our df here, and then open your square brackets, in quotes, the new name, the desired name. Then if you are most times you are mostly trying to create a new column based off the existing data frame, which is what we are doing is just extracting the year part, date part, and all. Wow, I'm getting a notification. So one fundamental thing is understanding our data. All we are trying to do with this sales data is to, okay, fine, we understand there's an order number which is unique for every order. We have information on the quantity that was ordered and the price, which gives us our sales. And then we understand that there is also order dates in it. So we want to answer questions like, depending on the question you're trying to answer, or let's say you want to determine which item has the highest sales, which we treated in the last session, or based on the years, what are the total sales per year, which is like, this is like a summary overview of your data set really, because per year, what was sold, what was the sales amount, which item was sold the most, which item is the least performing item. So those are business questions that you want to know. Like as a business owner, you want to know what item is really selling. What year did I really, make so much money? Which item is not selling at all, so that we can make informed decisions, which boils down to the whole reason for analysis. We analyze to have an insight into our data, to see what is happening in the business, and to be able to make decisions. Decisions like, I want to drop off this product line, it's not moving, there's no point. Or, oh, this particular year, this product did not move, but then it moved the next year. And then it can now lead us to more questions like, okay, why did this product, why was the sale so much this year? So, and analysis really gives us like a deep dive into our data, and which is why we most times we visualize. So I want to use, so if you've not installed the matplotlib, you are going to run into an error if you try to import it. So why I was able to import both pandas and matplotlib is because I had installed these libraries in my Python environment before now. So like I keep saying, so anyway, anytime we are stuck, we can always go to the pandas documentation. So documentations That's where you see breakdown of all the method functions. In fact, if you want to understand how they work, you will see them on documentation. And to be very good with this, we really have to refer to documentation. Even when I started working with this, there are times I've encountered, I'm trying to do this, how can I do it? You don't have to know everything offhand. Like I used to ask co-pilot questions, and we're in the area of AI. If you are stuck anywhere, you can always, in fact, we even suggest it for you. But then the danger is that you cannot keep on using suggestions if we don't understand what we are doing. So it's best that first and foremost we understand that, oh, the reason why I'm doing this is, oh, I can always access method to get things done. Now that is fundamental. Once we've understood the fundamentals, we can just start manipulating it and get things done. So let's say I want to visualize my sales. And another interesting method is group by that I really enjoy working with. It gives me a quick summary. Remember that this is case sensitive. If it's not in the same way it is defined, it's going to return key error, and that's because it cannot identify that key. Okay, let's say we want to, let me go back to my head. Let me go back. So every time I come back to my head, because I don't have to cram anything, I just have to come here. So let's want to say the sales. I want to group by year. For each year, I want to say the sales by year. And then, okay. Okay, let me put a comment at the top here so that when I'm reading through, I understand my code for best practice. Okay. Creating new columns for year and month. Yes. Okay. Okay, this is where I am. Sales by year. So we have to be careful with the suggestions that it is, given to us. So the dot group by allows me to create. So the sales here is a series. You can see the square brackets. So I'm creating a series. The year will be the index. If you check the pattern of df.ed, there is always index before the key columns. So I'm going to be working with this. Okay. So what we have here is that, so I'm calling on the data frame, and then I'm using the group by method. Like I said, you can always over on it to read more about the method you're working on. So you say group by data frame using map or series column, Group by operation involves some combination of splitting objects applying. So basically, you're going to pass in the this my year is going to be my index. So my year is going to come first, and then I want it by sales, and not just sales. I want to get the sum of sales, and I want to plot it as a bar. So it's always, for categorical data, it's best to use bar chart. If I'm doing a trend analysis now, if I want to check, oh, sales by, maybe sales, daily sales between a period of time, I should use line. But if I want to do like just like a summary per year, I think we can actually use line, but it will not be nice. You know why? Because my data set has just 3 years, 2004, 2000, I think 2003, 2005, just 3 years. So line trend might not really be good. If I'm trying to do day on day over 3 months now, I'm going to, a line can actually give me a detailed what's it called, a visual that can show me trend along those days of the week, because I have like a lot of that's like time series, like different time in between. But if I'm just doing for just 3 years, it's just best that I just use a bar chart. So This one also allows you to determine the size of the shape that you're using. You know, most times bars are always in like should I say rectangle or squares? The bars, the columns, yeah, it's just like columns, the size, and then the title. You can decide to give it anything. Sales per year, let's say product sales. Let's say I want to do product sales per year, and then let's run this. So we have a bar chart that shows. So we can from here we can, like I said, the whole essence of visualizing is to have a quick overview. Like, oh, looking at my data, looking at the visual, you can easily tell a story. That, oh, in 2004 we had the highest sales in 2004. For this plot, it has this attribute kind. If you want, it can be the attribute that a matplotlib allows us. Can you see? This is why I said it's nice always over on it. You can have line, you can have bar, you can have histogram, you can have area, you can have pie, you can have scattered plots, anyone. So let's try. I'm saying line is not best for this 3 years that we are trying to work on. So let's try east. So let's try east. Let's see how east will look like. And these are all attributes rather. The title, you want to inflate the figure size, you can do that. This is just a suggestion that the intelligence gave us. You can tweak it the way you want. You see, histogram is not the best at all. So it's for this kind of, what's it called? For this kind of data, since I'm checking through just 3 years, it's best to just work with bar, with a
Let's
bar
try
chart.
pi.
Time. I want to try what?
Pi.
Pi, okay. Let's see. Okay. But I'd rather go with bar. What do you think?
Yes, I think bar is the category, so it shows it clearly. You can see the actual difference with bar.
Share with pi or buy?
Bar.